Bases dropped in a new week of SDH AM. John, here you there. Thanks for dropping by. Here's the rundown for the week. We'll go rundown for the week, and we'll go rundown for the day. Rundown for the week. Tomorrow, normal. And we are chasing a couple of things today that we hopefully can put into the show tomorrow. We're chasing a couple of interviews, and hopefully one of them can be rotated into the show, and we'll catch up with that tomorrow also. See if our normal Tuesday guest that bats leadoff, if she is in fact back in circulation, because when she does come back, we will ask KCD about her time in Italy. And that'll be kind of most of the conversation, at least the first time back. And then we'll get into Casey White's season in review before we turn into 2026. So efforting an interview this afternoon. Hopefully we can put it in the show tomorrow. Checking in with our normal Tuesday people. That's Tuesday. Today it is normal. We're going to catch up on AFCON, which is going on right now. Morning, Abby. AFCON Day 2 is underway. We're going to spend a lot of time with AFCON today and get into the tournament in and of itself, what happened yesterday, and what to anticipate from the tournament and from football on the African continent as we go. So Mali and Zambia right now, first match of Day 2 in Casablanca. It's underway, 5th minute, no score. We'll get into what happened yesterday with Morocco and the Comoros. We've got highlights of that. And we also will hear from the man in charge of AFCON about one of the new things that is being unveiled with this particular tournament and how they're looking to grow and evolve the tournament over the next couple of cycles. And so there's going to be a couple of additions to what's going on to competition on the African continent as it continues to grow. And we'll get into the tournament today. We'll get into your juice boxes today. And we'll let you know what's going on. So I'm checking quickly on a cutback cross. We had an opportunity for a shot and wide of the target, goal kick. And once again, now getting ready for the 6-minute no-score Mali and Zambia. So we'll get a lot of AFCON today since that tournament is now underway. And you got a chance to watch all of the action. You can do so on BN, and you can get BN at Fanatis, fntz.co/soccer down here. And you can catch all of the AFCON action, and you can follow along with that tournament, which will have its own bouts of chaos. Trust me, it will. So that's Monday, and that's Tuesday. Wednesday, we're catching up with folks in Boise on Tuesday to air it on Wednesday as a part of the pre-Christmas programming. For those that follow along, Lower Divisions Athletic Club Boise is busting out their jerseys. They're having problems making sure that they have enough tickets to go around because season tickets are off the charts. And so we're going to catch up. Basically, it's almost like a marketing 101. And we'll find out about how they discovered and how they settled on specifically their jersey and all that kind of stuff. We'll get into marketing, and we'll find out what it's like kind of birthing a first-year franchise. We'll get that with our friends in Boise on Tuesday afternoon. Local time, we're going to air it on the Wednesday morning show. Wednesday, Nico's going to join us at 10:30 as well before we get into Christmas in general. Then, once again, Thursday, no show. Wednesday, by the way, Wednesday and Friday will be from my hotel room in Montgomery, Alabama. And that has to do with opening kickoff coming up in a bit. But Wednesday is, well, Tuesday afternoon technically is the travel day. And then we're going to get into Wednesday. Wednesday, it's going to be the tape from Boise and our friend Nico Moreno joining us from Pulso Sports. He's going to join us Christmas Eve day at 10:30. And then on Thursday, once again, no show. You get to open up your gifts and you get to kind of hang out and do whatever you want and sleep in maybe on Thursday. And so that's Thursday. And then Friday, we're back to a normal show once again from a hotel room in Montgomery. Our buddy Nino Torres is going to join us from 10 o'clock. And so the Thursday Power Hour has been broken up into Nico at 10:30 Wednesday, Nino at 10 o'clock on Friday. So and we get to find out from Nino what he got for Christmas. And so that's the week right now as it stands. And it's probably going to be the same next week where Nico will join us New Year's Eve day. We won't have a show on Thursday, but then we'll be back on Friday, and we'll lay it all out for you there, hopefully with Nino joining us at 10 o'clock on Friday. And then that way we can bring in the new year with Nino Torres. And so That's the layout of the week in and of itself. So, opening kickoff brought to us by our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. Here's the QR code for those of you who are hanging out with us, however you are doing so, large device or small. And once again, thanks for doing so. So we want you to kick off your day with Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. You hit that QR code, you start your day off right. We want you to buy out the store. We want you to buy out the whole honkin' store. And so you can do so, and you can do so at Kickoff Coffee, and you can sit there and go, soccer down here 15, you buy out the store, but you get it at a 15% discount. And then that way, you have all the coffee in the world. You can spread the coffee around for Christmas, but you get to do so at a 15% discount once again with our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. So that is what we like to say. Morning, Will, and apparently driving to Dallas, Texas, getting ready. First time through Memphis. Pilgrimage to the Bass Pro Shops Pyramid. Nicely done. Okay, so Will, all we ask is that you drive safely. That's all we want. So opening kickoff this morning. Are you done shopping? Are you done shopping for the holiday? Doesn't matter what holiday it is. Are you done shopping for it? I don't know if I think I am. I'm not sure. And the reason that I say I'm not sure is because of that lower third that is there. Still recovering from high school football. And I am still trying to recover from high school football, by the way. The days are kind of running together, and I have no earthly clue. The only reason I know that it's a Monday is because we're right here. That's the only reason I know that it's Monday. And it's like, 9:05. I've got to be down here, and we got to get the show going. So are you done? Are you done shopping? That's the big question. So let me know if you're done. And, was it one of those things now? And this is what I will say. When it comes to shopping in general, when it comes to shopping in general for this particular holiday season, I'm a 12-month shopper. If I see something that I think will fly, I'm like, yeah, okay, that'll work. If it's in March or April, I'm going to save it till Christmas. I mean, obviously, it will stay in something of a hermetically sealed container, but nevertheless, I will get it in March or April, and I will hang on to it. If I, but don't get me wrong, I'm going to make a point to, where you hang on to something. But if I still see something, I'm probably going to add on to it. And so my gifting is probably somewhat disproportionate. And what I mean by that is, it's like if I see something for somebody in March and April, I'm going to continue to buy across the board. And then if I'm done, I'm done. If I'm not, I'm not. And then, you might have folks that have larger stacks from others, and I've got to be more careful about that because of, hey, you got a large stack, and then you got to rock, those kinds of things. I've just got to be careful about it. I think I'm done. My biggest thing once I'm done is standing in line for shipping. And I've got to do a little bit of that today. But I will say that the cadre that we have, if you get it to them on Christmas, fine. Sometimes you're not home at Christmas, and if it gets there after Christmas when you're back home, that's fine too. If it shows up, it shows up. Then if it doesn't, then it gives you something to open up around New Year's. So that's kind of how we're wired when it comes to getting gifts and things like that. If we get it all done and we get it in the mail and we survive the line and it gets there when it gets there, if it's there before Christmas, great. If it's not, then that's fine too, because like I said, it gives you something else to open up before you get into the whole holiday season. And so that's where we are, at least with me and my shopping anyway. But I just wanted to know here, since we are here on a Monday, are you done with shopping? Like I said, doesn't matter which holiday we're talking about. This holiday season, are you done? Are you done shopping or no? That's the larger question in all of this. Are you done? And if you're done, congratulations, you've survived. If you're not done, I'm right there with you because I'm still paranoid. I legitimately am incredibly paranoid about the idea of not being done. If I'm done, I'm done. I hope I'm done. I'm not sure I'm done. Like I said, I'm just overly concerned and paranoid about those kinds of things. So that's opening kickoff. Are you done? Are you done? Are you done shopping, or are you paranoid you forgot somebody, or do you feel like that there's an upcoming event that you're like, yeah, I probably should get something for that person, but then you have to go to the store, and then there are certain stores where you're when you're done shop when they're done with a particular item, they don't restock. Anything seasonal, they don't restock, and that's kind of wild to think about. It's like if a store is ready on like November 26th, if you buy something inside the store, they don't restock. Literally, you'll see shelves starting to get empty and everything. I mean, it's not like it's like it's a race to make sure that you've got everything, and it's a race to make sure that anything is there. So there it is now evolving to where, Amazon is turning into your best friend or something like that, because you sit there and you look at it, and then you'll pay the premium to get it shipped to make sure that it gets there on time. All of these pressures that we have, crazy. But I think I'm done. Abby says, I don't see how y'all do all of that with all the presents. That's the thing. It's like, but that's the problem. That's the problem. Abby's like, I don't see how y'all do all that with all the presents. And then Abby says she's making another batch of potato latkes since it's the last day of Hanukkah. Will probably has a good beat on it. He says there's a procrastination cheat code. Don't get anything early. Just say it was delayed shipping on the 25th and order it at a 30% discount on the 26th. That might work in some circles. If you are married and want to stay happily married, then you can't get away with some of that stuff. And if you've got a boss that can help you get away with it and is of that the same like mindset, more power to you. But I think you got to have everything in house. And frankly, I just let the boss kind of take care of everything. Just kind of defer to her when it comes to family and guests and gifts and everything. And I hope that I've remembered everybody. Abby says today is usually her shop day for discounted Hanukkah candles for next year. Lit a 20 Hanukkah menorah this year. Crazy. And I get that. So you wait until after the holiday, and then you get all your Hanukkah stuff at a discount. Yeah, discounted Hanukkah candles. For the Hanukkah candles that were not liked or appreciated this go round, you pick them up and you sit there, and it's like, you are wanted. You get to come and hang out here. Just because you didn't make it in the first round doesn't mean you're not going to be a star in the second round. I get that. I get that completely. And I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, for me, Black Friday and Cyber Monday are 2 days that I really get a whole lot of shopping done. But to be, like I said, I'm just still really paranoid about the fact that I don't know if I've gotten everything that I need to. And I will have that paranoia in my head until we wander into whichever house or building we're wandering into. And then the boss and I are having conversations. Hey, did you get this for so-and-so? Did you get this for so-and-so? Yeah, I think I did. Yeah, I think I did. And then we're trying to sit there and find it. But the problem is we have to find it before we leave the house. That's the problem. I have to remember to find it and have it out in the open. Unless you're somebody like me who completely and totally hides things from themselves. Then you realize, oh, I bought this for this person. I bought this for, that's the downside to being a 12-month shopper is March and April. You're like, okay, this is cool. And then you look back at it in December and it's like, who did I get this for? That's kind of where that's my downside personally is getting something in March and April. And then in December, looking at it going, who did I buy this for? That to me is the larger issue today. So remembering who you buy something for since you are a 12-month shopper. Okay. That is opening kickoff. Are you done? Opening kickoff. Are you done? Brought to us by our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. There's your QR code for those of you hanging out with us this morning. Once again, you hit that QR code, and that is the start of anything and everything going on with our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. So you hit that and use the code SoccerDownHere15 at checkout. That way you can buy out the store and you can get it at a 15% discount. Then they in turn take 10% reinvest at youth games, youth initiatives, brought to us by our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. All right. And also remember, tonight it is soccer over there. I don't know if we're at the brew house or if we are virtual, but 8 o'clock tonight, 8 to 10, it is Touring the Planet. Probably get a recap of the day in AFCON. You got picks of the week, which I did not take part in. And this will be an interesting litmus test for me, because since I was locked into doing everything with high school football, I didn't even know picks of the week existed. So we'll see what happens by not doing picks of the week. We'll see how well I did or didn't do, and if I'm still, in fact, last in the standings when it comes to everything. I've won once, but I was close to last, if not last in the standings. So we'll see if by not choosing any matches this week in picks of the week, if I improved my overall standing, even though I didn't win the week. So we'll find out. We'll find out about that coming out later tonight, 8 o'clock, either live from the brew house or virtual. I don't know yet, but 8 o'clock tonight, soccer over there. Another round of SOT for you and me and Jason and Jarrett and anybody else that is going to be crashing the party at 8 o'clock tonight here on the network. Okay. Morning, Ricky. OG is curtailing a lot of the usual holiday activities this year. Shopping is almost complete. Traveling to see family after Christmas, so you have a little leeway. Good for you. Yeah. But Abby. You know, I love Abby and her suggestions. Abby is saying that I should have spreadsheets. I should have spreadsheets with the name, the gift purchased, and where I hid it in the house. The hiding in the house is the easy part. The hiding in the house legitimately is behind this door. For those of you who are watching on the video side, it is behind this door to my right as I sit here every morning, Monday through Friday. This is the bathroom down here in the office, and it's a shower and everything. So when the boss comes down here, I always tell her, you are not allowed to open the shower, because there's a shelf space and the shower never gets used. So there's a shelf space, and that's where I store everything. So when she ends up coming down here and, she has to use the facilities, she just cannot open the shower. She cannot open the shower curtain at all. She can go through this door. She can, use the facilities, but she cannot under any circumstance open the shower curtain, because that's where her stuff is. And that's where everybody else's stuff is. If she could open it and just see everybody else's stuff, then we'd be fine. But on the other side of this door is her stuff too. So she's not allowed to pull open the shower curtain and see what's going on behind the shower curtain, because her stuff is there in as much as everybody else's stuff is there. So like literally everybody's stuff is here. So if I had a spreadsheet, it'd be like on the door. Or if I could find a way past all the scarves, probably should have it inside the room, maybe on a clipboard or something. But that's the easiest way for me to know where everything is and I don't lose it. So on the other side of this door, on the other side of the shower curtain, no one's allowed to take a shower in there because they'd have to move out the shelf space, and then no one's allowed to pull open the shower curtain but me. That's where we are. So that is the whole. The war game strategy. Would you like to play a game? Yes, absolutely true. Yes, the only winning move is not to play. And I will probably use that line, Will, a lot, especially if my overall standing increases. Sophia did that one week, and she moved up 3 spots in the standings. Absolutely true. Oh, and Abby, not a great selection of movie choices for Christmas Day, seeing one this year. Tune on to Hallmark. You can do that. Hallmark's got 3 channels now, and they're running a bunch of Christmas movies. Like the one right now has Christopher Palaha and Marisol Nichols. We Wish You a Merry Christmas. That's what's going on right now. So that's on one of the channels. Then I think they're running periodicals. Oh, they're doing the sequel to Haul Out the Holly. Okay. So Haul Out the Holly's on one. We Wish You a Merry Christmas is on the other. And Abby, true. And that's my other problem too, is if she buys something early, forget where I put it. I'm the same way. Morning, David. Happy winter. Deep into Ohio. Just be safe. Just past historic Crew Stadium 2 hours ago. So you must be heading to like Cleveland or something. If you went past Columbus and you're heading to 2 hours ago, you're 100 and some odd miles north of there. Christmas Day is going to the movies. Not Christmas movies, but just going on Christmas Day. Yeah, it's true. So I can definitely understand that. I think I'm going to sleep late, but I can't as much as I would like to. See now, Abby, that's strong. Chinese food for dinner. That's strong. We do Waffle House Christmas Day. That's what we do. That's different. Is we do Waffle House on Christmas Day because traditionally it has just been me, the boss, and her mom in one setting. So we've kind of taken the boss's mom and kind of spun her into the idea that doing Waffle House on Christmas Day is a good thing. So that's what we do. We do Christmas Day Waffle House. I go, ends up getting like brunch or something, slow day, nothing's really going on. And so then we do brunch at Waffle House. I go get it and bring it back. So that's kind of the thing. That's kind of where we are when it comes to our stuff. Monkey bread and delivering to friends. Nicely done. Yes, and Ricky, I would agree with you. Waffle House most days is a good thing. That is absolutely true. It'll be the second time in basically what, a week and a half that I would have had Waffle House. I know there's no downside to that. Absolutely no downside. Okay. I promise that we're going to talk soccer. Bart's going to come up at the top of the hour. We're going to do Yanks Abroad, cards and calls. And there were some cards and calls this past weekend. Thomas Frank is pissed. We got that sound and all of the other stuff that's going on in and around the planet. We'll get you into that too. But once again, let me update you. No score, 25th minute, Mali and Zambia. Bit of a break, and the cross is easily grabbed by the keeper as Zambia, I think, was on a bit of a transition run. So Mali and Zambia, once again, they are goalless coming into oh, the boss has chimed in this morning. The boss is actually lying in wait. You think he knows how to do spreadsheets? Yes. The boss has spreadsheets. Literally, the boss is chiming in Christmas week. That's tremendous. Morning, Patty. Wow. The boss is in on Twitch this morning. That really shows you where we are in the holidays. That's strong. That the boss is here this morning. That's good stuff. Okay. Yeah, Abby and her hopeful. Yeah, hope by now he's learned a little of spreadsheets. I know they exist. You don't want me to touch them. You don't want me to touch them. You don't want me to say them. And Ricky's wondering if you get an Oyos announcement before Christmas. I don't know. Probably might be before New Year's. It depends on if anybody's in the office. Okay, so once again, we talked about Mali and Zambia. Once again, AFCON is off and running. Looks like some folks are wanting a whistle in the box. We might have an early moment. Or are we just going to let that go? I think we're just going to let it go. We're going to stay goalless in the 26th minute. All right. Yesterday, it was the opener for AFCON, and it was the hosts, Morocco, going up against Comoros and their Canadian-born coach. And so for a while, Comoros was hanging around, and it was an early opportunity for them to have to defend for themselves. Penalty call in the 10th minute was saved, and so it was still goalless for a while. Goalless at the break, and there was a comment that was made. I'll paraphrase it for you from play-by-play of AFCON, where pressure leads to excitement, but it also leads to basically just tightening up. I forget how it was phrased. It was nice, alliteratively done in an alliterative manner, but it was a nice emphasis that was there. But as much as it can push you forward, it can also tighten things up, and that's what it seemed like it was doing for a little while with Morocco. So Morocco goalless at the break, and then 10 minutes into the second half, they get their breakthrough, and it was a moment by Brahim Diaz, and here it is to make things 1-0 for Morocco, courtesy of AFCON and beIN Sports their own selves.
Again, just towards the far side, Mazraoui. Controls beautifully. Square ball, and there it is! Not to be denied, the top scorer in qualifying scores the opening goal of the Total Energies Africa Cup of Nations Morocco 2025. Brahim Diaz steps up and is counted on home soil. 10 minutes into the second half, deadlock broken, and Brahim Diaz has the all-important goal. 7 goals in just 4 qualifying matches. He's got 1 in his first here to start the tournament.
Brahim Diaz with the goal, as I blow out my ears. Brahim Diaz with the goal to make it 1-0. And I don't know when you start your timetable for the Puskás Award. For those that may not know the Puskás, that's the goal of the year. And I don't know when you start it, when you stop it. I don't know if it's a calendar thing. I don't think it is. It's kind of, because of the schedules, it's kind of slid for the most part. But I will say this. Goal number 2 yesterday, if you have not seen it, go find it. We're going to play it here. Once again, courtesy of our friends at AFCON and at BN Sports. But it was goal of the year candidate already for either late 25 or early 25, 26, however it's phrased. It was insane to see this go down. The way that it wrapped up, it was Ayoub El-Kaabi putting it in the back of the net 19 minutes after Brahim Diaz scored the first. So 74th minute, this happened, and it was nuts.
Azzouli straight down the centre now. Numbers there for Morocco to take advantage. Saladin. Oh, that is sensational! That is glorious! The rain is falling down. But he would not be denied a most spectacular finish. Ayoub El-Kaabi in CAF competitions continues to impress. Morocco opened the scoring through Brahim Diaz. Calm, composed, wonderful. But the flashy flamboyance of Ayoub El-Kaabi has stepped up. And despite the driving rain, El-Kaabi delivers a stunner. His positioning always on point, his finishing exquisite. But the reliable scorer, who knows where the net is, has just delivered a collector's item of a goal.
No kidding. A collector's item of a goal for El-Kaabi. So let me see if I can reconstruct it. And we almost had another close call for a penalty shout in Mali and Zambia, but it was a great tackle. And I would have been stunned if the penalty had been called. So if I can reconstruct this the correct way, basically it ends up with El-Kaabi running down one of the inner channels. Ball is floated in from the left-hand side toward the near post. El-Kaabi is at about 13 or 14 yards away. And what he ends up doing as he's running toward goal, turns toward his right shoulder. So he's turning clockwise, and then with his back to goal, leans back and bicycle kicks it with his left foot. So he's running toward goal. Everything's happening off his left shoulder. So he turns and ends up with a bicycle kick. He does his 180 and bicycle kicks it with his left foot, the foot furthest away from the entry pass, and puts it inside the near post for a goal. It is insane what this was. Just you have players going down left channel and inside channel. El-Kaabi's on the inside. El-Kaabi literally looks off to his left, starts to turn, and then with his back to goal with his left foot, the furthest foot away from where the ball was coming in, puts it inside the near post for a goal. So I don't know when you start your Puskás Awards. I really don't. But if this isn't at the top of the list already, I don't know what is. I don't know what constitutes it. This should be an automatic finalist for Puskás 26, whenever that is, or late 25, whenever that is. So it ends up 2-0 your final, and that was kind of what was predicted. You had a bunch of computer sitting there and going, yeah, we think that's what's going to go down. And so you end up with Raimi's penalty being saved in the 11th minute, goalless at the break. Diaz, once again, he got a yellow at 45 plus 3. But there is a bit of an injury concern for the for Morocco, where you end up with a replacement happening from your team captain who was injured in the 20th minute. And so it's going to be a question for Morocco going forward in the substitution, where you end up with your captain only lasting 20 minutes. So your captain lasts 20 minutes and has to be replaced. How does that impact things going forward? And so it ends up with Saeed being it was so you end up, I'm trying to, where was the substitution? But you end up with your team captain being substituted out, and it was it's going to be a question for Morocco going forward. And so what's it going to look like for Morocco without your captain? No injury report as of yet for this morning, but you end up with Morocco getting the win 2-0, top of the group, obviously. And this is the other match that is going on right now, Mali and Zambia, that's going to wrap up the group here, at least on match day 1. So just keep an eye on Morocco. Just keep an eye on Morocco and what it's going to look like for them with substitutions, and what it's going to look like with them for injuries. And so we'll keep an eye on that. So today you've got the 4 matches, and it's the 4 matches in all the windows, none of them going over each other. And so it is one after the other, after the other, after the other. Mali was favored coming into today at a minus 132. Zambia a plus 425. Your draws a plus 227. You've got another group that's going to play their first match day today. South Africa and Angola is at noon. South Africa's favored on the plus side at a plus 152. Angola plus 239. Your draws a plus 170. Egypt and Zimbabwe. Egypt, obviously. And a lot of folks are looking at Mo Salah. It's like, okay, who has the most to prove in this tournament? And a lot of folks are pointing at Mo Salah as that individual. So Egypt and Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe, by the way, over 90 minutes is north of plus 1,000 at a plus 1010. Egypt a minus 294. And so the draws a plus 355. Obviously, once again, this match here, you got to match at noon. You got to match at 3. We'll talk about it tonight on Soccer Over There. But it was just a ridiculous start to the tournament with Morocco getting the 2-0 win over the Comoros. And so we'll see what happens there. But, yeah, the crazy where you have a Canadian coach leading the Comoros, and there was a great story, and I'll see if I can find it, about the background for the Comoros Islands in this tournament. And it's where they really can't do much of anything on their own island because of damage from typhoons. And so the infusion of capital that has come into AFCON, I think it was a $2.5 million infusion specifically for the Comoros Islands, is trying to help them work their way, at least from a footballing perspective, to help with infrastructure and things like that. So Zaidu Yusuf, who plays for Al Fateh in the league that we neither condone, endorse, nor promote, is probably the person to keep an eye on in that group. Zambia, obviously, you're kind of locked into Patson Daka from Leicester City. Zambia, they parted ways with Avram Grant after they didn't qualify for the World Cup. Chipolapopo led into the tournament by Moses Sichone. And so it was winning the 2012 edition in Gabon. And a lot of folks are saying, they just make it out of group. We'll figure that out later. Mali, by the way, unlucky to lose to Ivory Coast back in 2023 in extras in the quarters. And so a lot of folks looking at their midfield. So Yves Bissouma from Spurs, and you have Mohamed Kamara from Al Sadd, Amadou Haidara from RB Leipzig, Besiktas striker El Bilal Touré. So Mali, they kind of, you're like, yeah, okay. Okay, we could see something. We could see something here, but we don't know. So you don't know. They're likely to qualify for the knockouts and could cause some upsets, but you don't know what Mali team is going to show up. Basically, that's the biggest thing there. So that's going to put an end to Group A today and their start, and then once again, Group B is going to continue, and they will get their first match day taken care of at noon and at 3:00 today. So that's the big element here, and it looks like we have a hydration break in the 38th minute, no score. So Group A, Group B, they're taking their first action today, and it is let's see, how many groups do we have? We got 6 groups, so 24 teams chasing after AFCON's title, and we'll see what happens in 2025. And then there was some news that came out before the tournament started about the future of AFCON in and of itself. And so it was, you have Asia announcing that they're going to be bringing out a Nations League tournament as well coming up in the next couple of years. And so that's big news for the Asian Football Confederation. So national team football, they want to strengthen it with a Nations League in the coming period. And so you've got that. But then you have what was announced with AFCON themselves before the tournament started, and looks like we're going to VAR for a penalty check. So we'll keep an eye on this. Like I said, I'm not going to do play-by-play, but I'll let you know what's going on. So, and it's all on BN, so I can keep an eye on things. So we're checking for a penalty in the 39th minute, and we're going to the monitor. And so you have, let's see, so it's inside the area, and they're checking the tackle. It looks like it's contact from behind by the defender, kicking the leg of the offensive player from about 14 or 15 yards out. And yeah, I mean, it looks like it's straight up contact with the player in and of itself. So let's see if it ends up with a penalty call. So the ball goes off the offensive player outside of the left, and the defender comes through with the leg. And I don't think the defender makes contact with the ball. And they're late, and they take out the offensive player. So you have an announcement before the tournament starts that AFCON is going to be played every 4 years, starting in 28. And so you're going to have an African Nations League taking place every year. So what we know as AFCON is going to be, and it was a penalty that was awarded on the defensive play. So we'll see if we've got an opportunity from the spot. Looks like Nene might take it, and we'll see what happens here. But AFCON and all of its craziness, it looks like ahead of the 25 edition, this is Dr. Patrice Motsepe. We'll hear from him in a second on something else. But CAF President Dr. Patrice Motsepe said that it's going to be a new African Nations League, and you're going to have AFCON taking place every 4 years. And then you end up with the 27 Cup of Nations hosted by Uganda, Kenya, Tanzania going ahead as planned, and that the following edition scheduled for 29 is going to be moved to 28, and then the next AFCON goes to 32. So here's your math. AFCON this year happening, going on right now. Penalty kick awarded, and we're waiting to see what happens. So then AFCON's 27 is going to take place in 27. Then traditionally, you would have the next one in 29. So 25, 27, 29. Instead, it's 25, and the penalty is saved, by the way. Big save early on. Nicely done there. So instead of it going 25, 27, 29, it's going to go 25, 27, 28. And then after 28, it goes every 4 years. So instead of 25, 27, 29, 31, it's going to go 27, 28, 32. But then to substitute for that, you're going to get the first African Nations League to take place in 29. And that's where all 54 countries are going to take place. 4 geographic zones, September and October, finals in November. Dr. Motsepe says it's going to be a competition every year, and it's going to be there on the continent. Unable to say when the 2028 AFCON could take place, scheduling is traditionally an issue. Tournament was pushed back from a planned summer start so it wouldn't clash with the Club World Cup. So that's why you're seeing AFCON now as opposed to traditionally when you would see it. And so Matthias Grafstrom, FIFA Secretary General, was there as a part of the announcement. Grafstrom called it a historic decision and that FIFA would coordinate with the CAF to make this happen. So now switching AFCON to a 4-year cycle takes it in line with the European Championship, the next of which will be in 28. And so AFCON now goes every 4 years. Having no AFCON in 29 also means it will not clash with the Club World Cup. So that is where you have that piece of news that came out before the tournament started. Another piece of news that came to pass was in this same press conference. And here is a piece of that press conference with Dr. Motsep, courtesy of our friends at the SABC, the South African Broadcasting Corporation.
$7 million to $10 million. So the nation that wins, the country that wins, will get $10 million. We increased it. Initially, it was less than 5, and we took it to 7. So if you win, you'll get $10 million, and there's a key objective forward. We will continue to increase the prize money for the most important competition in Africa. We've also taken decisions to significantly increase the Champions League and the Confederations Cup, but we're not going to announce them today. I wanted to announce them, but I have to listen to the smart people, and they said, please, they're not playing anyway until after. So we will announce the significant increase in the prize money of the Champions League that we took today, and the significant increase in the prize money of the Confederations Cup.
And so he said that now the winner is going to get a 7-figure windfall. That's probably the one of the larger pieces of news in addition to the calendar change. So Confederation of African Football President Dr. Patrice Motsep insists the decision to change the hosting every 4 years is not going to cripple African football. And then he announces the 28 tournament, and this, instead of it going every 2 years, switching after the 1-year turnaround to go to every 4, people were like, whoa. And so that ended up being a really big piece of news for them. And so it's the biggest revenue generator for CAF. And so it made the most sense to do it every 2 years, except after 3 years, it's going to be every 4. And so he believes the organization, Dr. Motsep does. He says he's going to make the quote, we're going to make more money with this new dispensation than we ever could have made with AFCON every 2 years. He says it's unfair on the African players that they're caught up in their fights with their coaches and their clubs because they have to come back to us in Africa. My primary obligation is African football. My number one duty is to make sure African football grows and succeeds in its world class. The release of players by European clubs in the midseason has always been one of the bigger challenges every 2 years. And so then you had the decision taken by the executive committee in Morocco. And so he had to come up with this compromise. And so that's why you have now Nations League. And that's why you now have, after the 28 tournament, it's going to be happening every 4 years. And you have Nations League happening in amongst the rest of the calendar. And so that was probably the larger piece of information there. And so you're kind of dancing back and forth. It's like, okay, is the Nations League going to, or the Nations League where you're throwing all 54 teams in, is that going to help and be a substitute for the monies that you would have lost by not having AFCON every 2 years? And Dr. Motsep is saying that, yes, it is, because you have, according to the CAF itself, it is a 43% increase in prize money for the winner of the Total Energies CAF Africa Cup of Nations Morocco 2025. That's a lot. And remember, Total Energies is investing, I want to say it's $1 billion over the next 8 years to be up front and be the main sponsor of this tournament. And so prize money for the winner goes up to $10 million US with the help of Total Energies. And there are stories out there about Total Energies and how there should be concerns about how they are conducting themselves in a responsible environmental manner. But they are the head corporate sponsor of this right now. They've invested heavily in CAF and in this tournament. And so that's why the hashtag is so darn long when you're trying to sit there and do something about AFCON. It literally is Total Energies, now it is like this monstrous, monumental 95,000 character hashtag that is attached to this tournament. So let me see if I can get the whole hashtag here. Total Energies AFCON 2025. Literally, that's the hashtag. So if you, on the 280 character app, you want to use this hashtag with the corporate sponsor attached to AFCON, it is 5, 10, 13, 18, 22 of your 280 characters are attached to this hashtag. So literally, you have blown past like 15% of your character limit if you want to lay out the full hashtag for the tournament that's going to be hanging out in the morning with us for the next month or so. So yeah, literally, it's a 22 character hashtag, 23 if you include the hashtag itself. So 23 character hashtag attached to a tournament that looks like it might be heading to the half with Mali and Zambia goalless. Had a foul here. It's 3 minutes added to the first half, and we are already on the north side of that 3 minutes. And so that's kind of where we are this morning with the tournament in and of itself. So to recap, with a new corporate sponsor, you're getting an increase in the prize money from the 23 edition. Ivory Coast pocketed $7 million. Winner this time around gets 10. Winner back in 21 got 5. So it has doubled in the last 4 years in 2 editions. So 21 got you $5 million if you were Cameroon. 23 got you $7 million if you were at the Ivory Coast in 43, a 43% increase. And then you end up with $10 million here in 25. So it is an increase in AFCON prize money. And that was announced once again before the tournament starts. So you go up to $10 million now in a 4-year period. So it has basically doubled in a 4-year period from $5 million in 21 to $7 million to $10 million here in 25. So runners up get $4 million, and the 2 semifinalists each get $2.5 million. So that's what you're staring at with the Total Energies CAF Africa Cup of Nations, Morocco 2025. And so if you wanted to do that entire thing, so we know the hashtag gets you through to 23 characters. If you wanted to include Morocco, that would get you to 30. And if you spelled out Africa Cup of Nations instead of AFCON, it would be 35, 37, 39, 41, 43, 45. 45 characters if you wanted to spell out the whole thing. Halftime goalless, Mali and Zambia were going to break there. So you end up with a tournament now happening every couple of years, every 4, starting in 28. They're going to substitute a Nations League with that. They're going to do that every year. And Dr. Motset believes that it's going to be a true substitute for it, and you'll have the best football on a yearly basis. Then you'll have everybody involved, all 54 nations, and then you'll have the top 24 in AFCON in 27, 28, and then after that every 4 years. So anybody got a math, got a calculator or anything that you can kind of figure all this stuff out? So I'm glad that you guys are working your way through Ohio and the ties that are there. And it's kind of like one of the hidden parts that's really cool about this is that you guys get to have these kinds of conversations and relationships. Bart Keeler coming up in about 5 minutes. And then it was, hang on just a second. All right, so that's where we are with AFCON. So once again, they're at the half, match number 1 of 3. They're going to close up match day 1 in Group A and Group B, and then that's where we are. So that's where we are with AFCON. Before Bart comes in here in a couple of minutes. We got cards and calls and Yanks Abroad and all this other kind of stuff. Wilfried Nancy got a win. It was a 3-1 win for Celtic over 10-man Aberdeen, and it was it was one of those where you're sitting there and everybody's going, yes. If you finally, you saw the shot of Wilfried Nancy on the sideline going like this. But it was one of those wins where still there was a lot left on the table. Here's Wilfried Nancy after the match courtesy of our friends at Sky. And, it was straight at Wilfried Nancy after the match. He was cool with it, but there's a lot of work to do.
No, I feel good for the players. I think that they deserve more wins, but it didn't happen. You can see that today we hit the post 5 times. I never seen that in my life, but this is something that we have to accept. That's why I really like the resilience of my team, because to concede, to have many chances to score and to hit the post like this 5 times, after that to concede a goal 1-1 was not easy mentally, but they showed a lot of grit to be able to come back and to score 2 more goals. So I'm happy for them.
How proud were you of those players to be able to make that comeback? Because a lot's been said of this group and of this team as of late, but yeah, as you mentioned, you could have been out of sight to be pegged back and then go ahead again. You must be really, really proud, no?
Yes, but again, this is something that I'm looking for. For me, the first goal that we scored, this is exactly the spirit. We play not with they play not with their teammates, they play for your teammates. What does it mean? Means that the first goal, it was we lost the ball and the defensive transition was spot on. And this is the reaction that I want to see. And also with the ball, we were clean. We provoked the red card because of the waves, the way we attack and so on. But again, this is only the beginning. We have many things to work on. But today was a good day for them to express themselves, and they did it well.
Is that performance today closer to what a Wilfried Nancy team should look like?
I have nothing to prove. I just have to work and to show stuff. And again, this is not me. This is the players. My job is to help the player to connect, to be able to be good on the pitch. When they are not good, to find solution to help them. And this is what we did, and I'm happy for them.
What was your favourite part of the performance today?
When we conceded the goal, 1-1 was a tough one. But again, with the last 10 days, we've been talking about this, to be able to be brave and to stay on the task and to play. And they did it well. That's why I'm happy, because it could have been difficult.
Wilfried Nancy, after the match, winning 3-1 over Aberdeen. Here are some of the numbers from the stats. 71% possession. Obviously, when you're a man up, then it leans in this way. 71% possession and 29. XG, if you believe in these kinds of things, 3.53 to 0.68. Total shots, 26 to 9. 8 of those 26 on target. 3 of those ended up in the back of the net. 9 total shots for Aberdeen on the day, and it was 2 on target for Aberdeen. Once again, remember, it's in the context of when the red card happened. So let me check with our friends at SofaScore just to kind of get into some of the other numbers that were attached to it. But everybody's sitting there going, well, about time, your 5th match. It was 4 matches in 15 days, first and foremost. And Thierry Henry, I give Thierry Henry a boatload of credit, because Thierry Henry said, let the man cook. It's like basically leave the man alone, let him cook. As well you should, but once again, we know what patience is these days. 73% possession and 27, according to our friends at SofaScore. XG of 3.72 to 1.11. 7 big chances compared to 1. 31 total shots to 10. 7 saves by Aberdeen. 8 to 4 in corners. 25 fouls, and obviously 2.5 times more passes. 13 tackles, 22 tackles, 13 to Celtic. 25 free kicks, 13 to Celtic. 3 yellow cards, 2 to Aberdeen, 1 red. And I'm trying to see. Let me see if there were any other lineups. Okay, so the lineups on the day. Obviously, if you talk to Jared about Dyson Maida, you want him to come over here very, very quickly. Very, very quickly, very, very soon is what you're staring at with Dyson Maida. 2 total shots for Maida, 1 big chance missed, 2 times offside. And your passing numbers, 23 to 25, 92%. And it was 1 assist, 2 big chances created for Maida. On the dribble, it was 41 touches, 2 unsuccessful touches, 1 successful dribble, fouled 3 times. And then defensively, for 3 defensive contributions, 2 for 2 in tackles 1. He was 6 of 13 in his duels, 3 fouls and 1 error leading to goal. So the largest scoring on the day goes to Ben Nygren. Ben Nygren in the afternoon had the 1 goal, 5 shots, 2 on target. And passing numbers for Nygren, 33 of 45 passing at 73%. one big chance created, 2 key passes, and 30 of 42 in the opposition half. Once again, take into context, the red card and how things might shift after that. Nygren on the dribble, 61 touches, 2 for 2, successful dribbles, fouled 3 times. And on the day, it was defensively for Nygren, it was 1 defensive contribution, 6 of 11 on his ground duels, and 3 fouls on the day. So Nygren ends up with your top grade at 9.2. Austin Trusty had an 8.3. Kieran Tierney, a 9.1 with a goal, and a bunch of 6s and 7s. Kasper Schmeichel, who is still in net at the age of 704, had a 6.2 on the afternoon. So that's your rundown of Celtic over Aberdeen, and Wilfried Nancy getting his first win in his fifth attempt for being on the touchline there at Celtic Park. Now, it is past 10 o'clock on a Monday, which means one thing, which means that we bring in Bart Keeler and we find out what's on Bart's mind on a bunch of different things as we go here. And so who are you repping today? What's the shirt?
The Jolly Crew.
Thank you. Because it's like the middle of it. It's like I see Joe Crew, and I'm like, there's something in the middle. There we go. Jolly Crew. Thank you. There it is. All right. So Jolly Crew this morning. We got cards and calls we got to get into. Thomas Frank is pissed. They went down to 9 at one point in his match. Arsenal and Everton, like I said, sorry, I had to bring that up. Arsenal and Everton, there was a moment there to get into the Isak tackle / injury, and now it looks like they might be investing, say, $65 million. They might be going to the front of the line to try and get somebody like Antoine Semenyo. Where would you like to start, sir, when it comes to all the stuff from the weekend?
Well, we can start with let's start it with Tottenham Liverpool, because that has, I think, the most moments to talk about in it.
Fair enough. All right. So then let me go ahead and I will play Thomas Frank being pissed, and then that way we can get into why he was pissed. So this is once again after the match, courtesy of Spurs their own selves. Here is Thomas Frank after the match when they finished with 9.
Get the first red, which I've seen being given before. I also said before, definitely a few times in Brentford. Also seen others. I don't like this as a red card. I think the game is probably too big to say gone, but for me it's not reckless. It's not that he's coming exceptional force. He's chasing Van Dijk. He's trying to put pressure, and then he changed direction, and then unfortunately his foot is on his Achilles, and you could say, you need to be smarter, don't do it and all that, but so we're not allowed to have physical contact anymore. So that's the thing. So the next thing on that, if you get 3 days, which I don't understand, how can you get 3 days on something that's not reckless?
Thomas Frank, he's kind of hot, and he's trying to figure out how he's going to possibly be without a player for a 3-match ban during festive fixtures.
Well, that player shouldn't have stepped on someone's calf, John.
When Thomas Frank is saying, and then he kind of steps on his Achilles, I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. Wait a minute here.
Yeah, I actually really appreciated the commentary on this, because, again, I think this is where we talked about this a couple episodes ago, where I'm okay with the referee giving a yellow card in the moment, because you go, that's bad. And really, to defend the referee and the AR in this moment. Hi, Abby. Happy Hanukkah. I think you're done, yes? Anyway, the pictures.
This is last.
Is this last night?
Yeah.
Okay. Facebook, I don't trust Facebook being timely and updating me on when her Hanukkah menorahs are all lit, all 75 of them. But I do want to kind of defend the referees in this, because I thought the initial yellow card was a good call from the referee's vantage point and the AR's vantage point. You're not anticipating like this level of serious foul play in, I don't want to say an innocuous moment, but it's very just he's defending he's going after the defender who's got his back to him and running toward goal. Okay, fine. You're not expecting him to be fully committed to, like I said, putting his studs into someone's calf. Recognizes the issue immediately, right? I think that was the good thing. He goes, okay, that was dumb. Blows the whistle, pretty quickly gives the yellow card. There was no I mean, he was saying, "Oh, I don't even think it's reckless," but reckless is yellow card. That's absolutely a reckless foul. Like at the very least, that is a reckless foul. So I mean, Thomas Frank's wording, and I know English is not his first language, but his wording indicates that he doesn't even think it should have been a yellow card, which is an insane take. Um, it's absolutely at least reckless. Uh, then you look at where the foot is placed on the leg of the defender, and then you add to that, and I liked this breakdown in the commentary talking about how the running gait does change because he does lunge. It's not a violent lunge. I do agree with that. Like I don't think he's going after him going, I'm gonna try to tear his Achilles apart.
Rawr! Yeah.
I do think he is in the process of trying to win the ball. But in doing so, he steps on his calf. Yeah. I mean, you just can't do that. You know what I'm saying? That to me, all of these things equal, hey, you know what? It's a red card. It's a red card for serious foul play because of the nature of the nature of the challenge. I think first off, this is not something that is like, in my opinion, where a normal challenge. You look at where the contact is made; it's very high. That's a red card. It just is. I don't understand. And again, this is where I wish managers, because we hear this all the time. Managers complain, "Oh well, I've seen that not given a red card." Okay, well, just because one time it wasn't given a red card doesn't mean magically all other times are not red cards. Or, I understand them defending their guy, but sometimes defending your guy means looking at your guy going, "Bruh, what are you doing?" And yes, you can say publicly, like, yeah, I get why they gave that a red card. I don't agree. But like to go this hard into that's not a red card when the whole world looks at that and goes, oh, that's a red card.
Yeah, that's a red card.
That just devalues any criticism you're going to have of a referee going forward. And that's one of the issues in our particular profession is people just seem to pick at everything we do because it happens to go against them. And it's the same thing as the U12 parent who doesn't think their kid has ever done anything wrong. How dare you call a foul on my kid? Well, because your kid's clumsy and he tripped a kid because he's not quite good enough to time his challenges that well anymore. Or yet, and it's just like he did a bad thing. It's okay. I'm sorry you're going to be without a player for 3 games. It sucks. But like he did a bad thing.
Yes. And doing a bad thing. Xavi Simons does a bad thing. And 30. So
I mean, he's lucky that he finished with only 9. I'll just put it that way.
Oh, really? Okay. Because Christian Romero got a second yellow at 90+3 for dissent. And you figured that the game was going sideways and it was over. And, Christian Romero gets his second yellow and he's out the door. So that was 9 at that point at 90+3. You think they're lucky to finish with that many, huh?
Well, I mean, did you see what Richarlison did after his goal?
No, what did he do?
He could have got 2. Well, pushing a guy into the ground farther and then going up to another defender and jawing in their face. I mean, I'm just saying he at least should have got a yellow card for all of that, in my opinion.
Yes.
That's very disrespectful, very unsporting, and all of that. To the point where, I mean, I'm not going to say he should have got a red card, but because that's a little too far. But he was in the realm of this is unsporting behavior. You deserve a yellow card.
Yes. And so when you have those discussions about unsporting behavior, I mean, where do you bend the book? Where do you kind of let it ride, and then where do you sit there and it's like, nope, I can't bend the book anymore. I've got to go ahead and I've got to do that. Where are your limits when it comes to discussions that you have with your fellow officials?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think one of the things we always agree on is once you start. Goal really the only thing I'm going to give a yellow card for in a goal celebration are, did you take your shirt off? Right. That's always a yellow card.
Yeah.
And did you do anything that could endanger or provoke another player? So one of the things that we see a lot of times, and this is where Richarlison wasn't involved because he's too selfish to think about it that way, but most of the time in a situation like that, the yellow card is given because an attacking player wants so badly to get the ball back after they've scored and they're down a goal, right?
Yeah.
They then try to wrestle it away from the defender of some sort. And I will remind everyone,
Fort
once that ball goes,
Fort
you
Lauderdale.
have put, well, yeah, you have put the ball out of play. That's all a goal is. You put a ball out of play over the goal line between the goalpost and under the crossbar. That's the definition of goal. So therefore, when you put a ball out of play, it is now the other team's possession. So it's not your ball. Leave it alone. It's not your ball. You have no right to it.
Mhm.
None. Luckily, we didn't have that issue here. So that's like number one thing we always look for after a goal is scored is, oh boy, are they going to do something silly there? But Richarlison still does something silly. I mean, he pushes a guy down above the head and above the shoulders. I'm just going to say that.
Yeah.
Into the ground
Mm-hmm.
with two hands.
Yes.
I don't know if that's red card. I don't know if that's violent conduct necessarily. But to me, it bordered on unsporting behavior. So after a goal specifically, unsporting behavior, for most of us, is when you endanger or provoke the other team.
Okay.
And I think most people don't really have an issue giving a yellow card after a goal because at that point in time, everything you've done between the game is effectively stopped, right?
Yeah.
You score a goal, we kind of all have this idea, okay, it's one of the few times that there's an actual like break in action. We all got to get back to center, to the midfield and everything. Doing stuff outside of that, it's pretty easy to just give a yellow card for the unsporting behavior that goes outside of the spirit of the game, right? Because that's one of the things that we talk about with the referee is we control the match by enforcing the laws of the game in connection with the match, right? Mm-hmm. So what that basically means is we understand every match is its own thing. Our job is to apply the laws of the game in the best situation possible in that match, in that scenario, in that moment. And here it just, to me, bordered on why are we doing this? And I don't mean celebrating, because this is like, again, this is beyond celebrating. It kind of goes to my trash talk thing, John, where people are going trash talk, and if you can't handle a little trash talk, then you don't need to be playing sports, period.
Yeah.
But when you start using words, we know those words. I'm sorry, we just do. I don't need to go through them. You know the words you're not allowed to use. When you make references to people who are not the person that you're talking to, that may or may not have given birth to them, or other relations.
Yes.
We know what those lines are. And I don't think as referees we need to be there and be like, hey, you can't do that. You're an adult. You're a 30-year-old professional soccer player. You know what these lines are. And I just think Richarlison got very lucky to get away with that without any sort of disciplinary action.
Yes. So you end up with Richarlison, and then Richarlison ends up getting a yellow for mouthing off at 90 plus 11. And so if you were to add Bart's first yellow after the goal in the 83rd, and then 90 plus 11 there, it would be 8 that that they would have finished with. So as I'm following your logic here, you would have given a yellow in the 83rd, and then you would have hit him again at 90 plus 11 for running his mouth, and then that would have sent him. You want to talk about just silly red card? Romero's was probably silly A, and then if Richarlison, if you'd given the earlier yellow at 90 plus 11, he gets that second one. You got two players that just end up with silly reds, and they're out.
Yellow card for dissent is the silliest of all red cards.
Yes.
You know, I bet every coach would say that. And I remember specifically when I was, 16, 17s, I had Jason Smith, former coach of the Atlanta Silverbacks, coaching me. And he was like, he was very much loved that he wanted us to, protect our teammates. But he was like, my job is to yell at the referee. And this is what I tell to the players on the professional level as well. My job is to take that yellow card, right? Not your job. Mm-hmm. And, there are times that you're going to get heated in the moment and yell at a referee. I'm not. We all have been there, me included. But, as a player, someone who is not the captain also, you need to understand that dissent is a silly thing for you to do because you have direct control over that action.
Mm-hmm.
Like Xavi Simon's, okay, you know what? It's a bad tackle. It's a red card. Did he have some control over that? Yeah, he probably didn't have to do that. He could have aimed better. He could have timed it better, right? But at the end of the day, the tackle went wrong. It's a red card. We've seen that time and time again where you think you have it lined up, and then your math ain't mathin', and you hit him in the wrong spot. But when you have a yellow card for dissent, that's on you. That's on you.
Now, same match, something different. And you end up with now Alexander Isak. We don't know how long he's going to be on the shelf. But the Van de Ven challenge on Isak, as Isak releases his shot, Van de Ven slides in, and it looks kind of scissory. But once again, I'm just staring at a still. I'm not looking at the actual moment. So Mickey Van de Ven slides in to try to make a block. It's the shooting foot that gets injured after it's planted. So shot is taken with the left, foot is planted. Van de Ven's legs are pretty much wrapped around Isak's left foot. Foot lands between the legs, and that's when apparently the injury starts to happen. Yep. So if Van de Ven goes directly through, we're talking about differently, but Van de Ven goes to make a block into the space in front. So this is a genuine challenge to you, or how are you gauging what happened with Van de Ven and Isak?
Okay, I'll go to two levels. First off, this is a foul, right? I think he fouls him. But in the case of this, we're not blowing a whistle. You're not calling a foul here because a goal has scored, and that's the ultimate advantage.
Yes.
So you're not in that case. First off. Unless it was a truly yellow card challenge, which I don't think this is, because this is one of those legitimate plays on the ball, in my opinion, right? Like you said, I mean, we don't judge intent, but it's very clear to see that his intent here is to block the ball. That's what he's doing. He just, again, mistimes it. So because this is a legitimate play on the ball, we're not giving any sort of discipline after the advantage.
Okay.
We don't do that anymore. Similar to why we don't give red cards for legitimate plays in the ball on a penalty kick. And obviously this was in the penalty area. So basically what happens is Isak scores. We're not calling a foul. And because of that, any real disciplinary action outside of was it a red card challenge, which it wasn't, we're not really taking into account. So had this been Isak running in on goal or something like that, 15 yards up the field, right? A similar situation, probably a yellow card for a number of things. But in this scenario, we're not calling anything because the way we apply advantage, we don't come back and give a yellow card for something like this.
Okay. And so that's
now if this itself were a yellow card. Sorry, John. No, if this itself were a yellow card challenge, like if this, as you said, the scissor or from behind or anything, like if he had pulled him, oh yeah, that's a yellow. We can come back and give a yellow card. But for a foul of this nature, which is a legitimate play on the ball, again, I think we can agree that this looks like a legitimate play on the ball. We're not coming back to give a yellow card for something like that.
Okay. Now you might have to do earmuffs for this particular, at least the lead in anyway.
Next, what are you talking about, John? I've never.
Everton and Arsenal. Figured I'd say it quickly. You had a juggling exhibition by William Saliba, and then you have a juggling exhibition, and then William Saliba strikes Tierno Barry in the calf. Referee and VAR apparently didn't see any contact at all. And so you end up with 60 minutes in, you end up with a moment that was referred to in some circles as outrageous oversight, explained unconvincingly by Premier League Match Center as insufficient contact. Arsenal gets composure, and then you end up with getting another shot on target in 64th minute. Trossard crashes on the post. and then Zubamendi strikes 5 minutes later. But so you end up with a moment with Saliba and Tierno Barry. Saliba hits Barry in the calf. Vertent. I've never heard of anything ever happening vertently. It's always been inadvertent. So you have Saliba striking Barry on the calf, and it passes through the center ref and it passes through VAR as insufficient contact by the match center.
You know, I don't really have an explanation for this other than thank you. Because I've been an Arsenal fan long enough to know that these have gone against us many a time.
Yes.
And I get it. There is to me there is contact. Now, I think you could argue, at least I think this is the referee's argument, that the defender and the attacker are both kicking at the ball at the same time, essentially.
Okay. All right.
I do think there is also a higher threshold for bad, we'll just say bad contact.
Okay.
Well,
sure.
When there is a ball in the middle of a lot of people with no one in control of the ball.
Okay.
And then you add to the fact that I think you could argue that Saliba was actually the one in control of the ball. The attacker just happened to get there first. So I do see why this was not given, but I felt very lucky that it was not given. Because I could see why, Everton would be upset about this. Now, again, the other question here is clear and obvious error.
Mm-hmm.
And if the referee on the field said, no, I don't think that's foul, I think VAR in the Premier League has tried to have a higher level of intervention and say, okay, do I think this is clear and obvious? And in their opinion, this was not clear and obviously an error. Now, again, I feel lucky because I could have seen this going at least to a video review.
Mm-hmm.
But because the referee on the field, the foul was no foul was the call, and VAR said, okay, well, we're looking at this. There's no clear and obvious error on the field. Check complete. We move on.
Okay.
Again, I don't know if I agree or disagree. I don't necessarily agree. I'll be just quite honest. It did feel like, there's that, but then, Arsenal should have got a penalty before the penalty they got. So, these things.
Okay, so then walk me through that one, because everybody's locked in on Saliba and Tierno Barry.
Oh yeah.
So everybody's locked in on that moment. Give me the moment before.
So, well, Arsenal's obviously their only goal from the game comes from a penalty kick. Gyökeres converts after a. I think handball would be incorrect to call what was attempted there. That looked like a volleyball block more than anything.
Okay.
That gave up a penalty kick. But there was a moment, I'm trying to get the minute because it literally was right before it, and I don't know if it'll be on the highlights, but there's a moment right before that looked very suspicious as well, where Gyökeres was pulled down inside the penalty area. This is what leads directly to the penalty kick. And it's one of those where a defender comes to the back of him, and you can argue that Gyökeres goes down a little easy, but putting a shoulder through the shoulder blades of a dude.
Oh, yeah.
That kind of thing is generally regarded as a foul. It doesn't get called a foul. The ball goes out of play for a corner kick. Arsenal score directly. So again, does it actually change the score? Probably not, because Arsenal doesn't get the corner kick that is, I don't know. Tarkovsky, again, handball it's not what it happened. It was like two hands in the air. I don't know what he was doing.
It was the roof block, is what you're saying it was. Yeah, you're
kind of what he was trying to do there. I mean, both hands were in the air, John. Like, it's the most obvious handball call you're going to see, So I don't think it necessarily changes the outcome, because if you get a penalty kick on the foul that led to the corner kick that led to the goal, then you're not getting the corner kick that leads to the goal. But, there were definite other times in this match where the referee said, nah, play on.
Yeah.
And if you're going to, again, we talk about applying the laws of the game to the match that you're refereeing, right? That's the consistency I think people do want is, well, if you're going to let light stuff go, you got to let light stuff go.
Yes.
And, they're big boys out there. And we know Everton isn't afraid to do some fouls.
No.
Yeah,
so ask David Moyes about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I do think sometimes as a referee you have to kind of understand okay, we know that this team might foul people. From an Arsenal standpoint, well, yes, you want your players protected. You don't want a lot of breaking up of the play because that helps Everton.
Mm-hmm.
So it is hard to manage a game against a team with a team that likes to foul a lot because, again, you know that the fouling is a tactic to stop a build-up, to be able to recover your defensive lines. See also Philadelphia Union.
I see you beat me to it. So yeah, there you said it first.
But it's one of those that's hard because you know that this team, that's what they're going to do, but you also know that they do that to gain an advantage, and you don't want to give them an advantage for fouling. It's just hard. I don't think the push in the back in the penalty area falls under that necessarily, but it did feel like the referee said, "Hey, look, you're going to be able to play soccer today. You might get away with a little bit," but I don't think either team really had much to complain about in the grand scheme of things when you looked at, 4 fouls to 5 fouls. There just weren't he didn't call a lot of fouls. Period.
What's the last time?
Now, do I agree with that? But in games like these, oftentimes you don't see a whole lot of fouls called, John, because if one team's bunkering, the line that means you're not having a lot of, and I don't want to say Everton bunkers, but we've watched Everton long enough to know we watched David Moyes long enough.
Yes,
we know how they play soccer.
Mm-hmm.
When you are bunkering, and this is something I have to explain to teams a lot of times, it's like, oh, you didn't call a lot of fouls against the other team. I'm like, well, there weren't any confrontational moments. They stood, 17 players deep and just let you run at them. Like, that's not going to be a time where you're going to have fouls. It's different than energy drink soccer, where every moment is a combative moment. The point is they're not trying to come out and challenge for the ball and make and pull themselves and stretch themselves. They're trying to stay compact, which means you're probably not going to have a lot of confrontational moments.
I'm still stuck at the fact I cannot remember a goal by Asina Yoko, by the way, from Mali on a scramble inside the box. So Mali now leading Zambia with 25 to go.
Hit the AFCON sounder.
Oh yeah, I know I should. I can't remember the last time that a Premier League match had single-digit fouls called. Legitimately,
I mean, 9 total is crazy. I'm not gonna lie. Now, again, I think this was a lot to do with the fact that the referee did have a very high bar when he thought it was a foul. But in the grand scheme of things, it's one of those where you go, well, if you just not call a lot of fouls, you're not calling a lot of fouls. And that is consistency.
Samuel,
I always get into this, I don't want to say argument because it's not, a discussion, right?
A philosophical disagreement.
Yeah, I disagree philosophically with some of the referees that I work with that say, oh, I like to let them play. Yet they never see them saying, oh, advantage or play on or anything. They just no.
You don't see this. It's just like,
refusing to call a foul is not this. Being afraid to blow your whistle, being afraid to set a standard of play is not the same as letting them play. You have to have some cojones, some confidence.
Yes.
To be able to manage match by calling fouls, because that's why we're there. That's why we're there. At the end of the day, we're there to ensure a fair and safe environment. And safe oftentimes means having to call fouls.
Yeah. It's strange how that works. Next week, you're good next week leading into New Year's, right?
As far as I know, yes. Now, it's possible that I won't be because our apartment-wide pest inspection and pest control is happening next Monday and Tuesday. So there may be a dude randomly walking in.
Whatever.
I'd be like, God, but hopefully not. Hopefully they do that sometime in the afternoon, John.
All right. So then
yes, Monday is a go.
Okay.
And any time next week or this week you need me,
Yeah.
I can jump in.
Yeah, I wanted to. So the last Monday of the year, I wanted to do the year in review for U.S. Soccer.
Our superlatives.
Yes, yeah, the senior superlatives for 2025. Crack open your Soccer for US POD yearbook, and we'll talk about that next week.
Yes,
that gets put off to the side till next week. Substitution starting to happen for Zambia once again. 24 to go, and Mali with a 1-0 lead. Yanks abroad, and here's the rundown of that. Obviously, keeping an eye on Tyler Adams and his injury as a part of all of this. Weston McKennie, 200th match in a Juve shirt. That's crazy.
Oh, that's crazy. They want him out every year. That's crazy.
Wild. Came from Schalke in August of 2020, and 19 goals, 7 in the Champions League, and 19 assists in 20 matches. So, top 5 leagues. Weston McKennie, and they gave him a 65 on a scale of 1 to 100, or 6.5 of 1 to 10. Played the full 90, got the assist, 2-1 win over Roma. Yunus Musa gets a 6.5 for Atalanta, playing a full 90 minutes on a 1-0 win at Genoa. Gazzetta dello Sport on McKennie saith, quote, "As an attacking player, he doesn't need to be asked twice. In fact, it's his initiative that paves the way for Openda's goal. He battles and links up play in the midfield, doesn't do much fancy footwork, but that's not necessary, given the energy of his teammates." So basically, Gazzetta is kind of sitting there saying, yeah, dude doesn't have to do much. He doesn't have to floor it on the gas pedal. He doesn't have to do that at all. So it's sometimes when you sit there and you read things, you're going, okay, so let's figure out a way to try and say something positive, but be negative about it since he's an American. The phraseology sometimes comes at you a little bit. On Musa, so much movement, he was practically foaming at the mouth from all the running. A breakthrough in midfield, followed by a wild shot with his right foot. Great effort. The only thing missing is one of these. Yeah, So 2 6.5s for them. Brendan,
look, we're just happy Yunus Musa played soccer.
Yes, that. Yes, yeah. It's like dude's getting minutes. Mm-hmm.
It's been to veer a little bit into it. It is concerning that Musa has not played as much as literally anyone else, I think, at that position. I think most people would agree that he is a very talented midfielder and offers a lot to any team that he could be on. But if you're not playing a whole lot, it's hard to prove that. You add into the fact that he hasn't been called up.
Mm-hmm.
He has a lot to prove. Now, he's obviously young enough. I think he'll only be 22, 23 at the start of this World Cup. So I'm not at all saying that his career is over for that.
He's washed at 22 or 20.
23 years old. But it's weird that a kid who started every match for us at 19 at the last World Cup is being considered or not being considered to come to the next World Cup and inarguably is still playing at a top team in a top league. I mean, Atalanta is one of the best teams in Italy right now, which makes them a pretty darn team in Europe, a pretty darn good team in Europe, so I don't know. It's confusing.
Atalanta right now, just so everybody knows, 9th mid-table. But the thing is, you're a win out of 6th, which puts you in conference.
Yeah, I mean, the Italian league right now is just very.
You got groups.
I don't think any team has really. Yeah, I don't think any team has pulled away. They're a couple good games from being European qualified, basically. So they'll be all right.
Yeah. So you've got your league group right now. 4 points separating the top 5, and then you have your first chase group in the peloton starting at 6, and it goes from 6 to 13, separated by 5 points. And then you have the survival group, which is Lecce, Cagliari, Parma, Genoa, and then the Hellas Verona's 2 points from safety. Pisa's at 11 points, and Fiorentina. This is the shocker for me. Fiorentina's only won once in their first 16. That's the crazy. The crazy part for me so far this season. Fiorentina 1-6-9, 9 points, and they just snapped a 3-game losing streak last time out. But that's crazy that they won to get to 9 points right now. And if they go to Serie B, I mean, that is for Fiorentina. Getting into Premier League, we mentioned Tyler Adams. Anthony Robinson, Jedi's got Nottingham Forest later today. Chris Richards puts in 90 minutes. And you had Brendan Aronson versus Chris Richards over the weekend.
Yeah,
so,
and Brendo's team got the better of him.
Which was crazy, considering that Crystal Palace is facing the possibility of playing 9 matches in a month because they didn't make it into the exempted group in Champions League. So, dude, win when you need to. Don't blow a lead against Cups or whatever the acronym is. But I just go KUPS. But you got to win that game. It's 2-2. You only end up with 1 point instead of 3, and now you're looking at the prospect of playing yet another home and away just to be in to escape the play-in round. You qualified, but you got to play 2 extra. You could be playing 9 matches in a month. So Oliver Glasner, what are you going to do? So we'll find out. Chris Richards.
I complain that a player is overworked and then blame Mauricio Pochettino for it.
Sure, I'm waiting for that one. So then let me ask you this: is there anything in February that could keep Chris Richards away from Crystal Palace and with the national team? Is there anything in February?
February?
Yeah. I think that's when the 9. I think that's when you'd have the 9 matches. I think it's 9 matches in February for Crystal Palace. So that would be
no. I mean, luckily for the U.S., our next window isn't until the end of March, so they don't have anything there.
Okay.
March could be. I mean, March only has a couple of matches for them.
Okay.
1 a week right now. So we'll see. But that January-February stretch is rough for them because you do have not just the Premier League fixtures, but also FA Cup and other cups. Now, we've got a EFL Cup match for them tomorrow.
Yeah, Gummy Bears tomorrow. So you've got that attached to it too. 35 of 42 passing for Chris Richards, 14 of 17 in the opposition half. Dribbling on the day, 68 touches, 1 successful dribble, 11 times he loses possession in the match. And then defensively, 16 defensive contributions, 1 for 3 on winning tackles, 1 pick, 10 clearances on the afternoon, 2 blocks, a recovery, 8 of 16 on his duels, 1 foul, and he had 1 error leading to goal, which gave him a 6, but that was not the lowest grade on the back line for Crystal Palace. Brendan Aronson finished the day with a 6.9, according to SofaScore, substituted after 76 minutes. Shots on the day, shooting stats, just had the 1 total shot in the overall. Passing numbers for Brendan Aronson, 19 of 22, 86%, 11 of 13 in the opposition half. Then dribbling numbers, 43 touches, 1 successful dribble on 2 attempts. Fouled once, lost possession 14 times. Defensive numbers for Brendan Aronson, 3 defensive contributions, got his only tackle, had a pick, had a clearance, 4 recoveries, 5 of 11 on his duels on the afternoon. So Brendan Aronson gets a 6.9, Chris Richards is 6.0, but Sky gives Brendan Aronson a 7 and Chris Richards a 4-go figure.
I'll say this for Brendo, and this will come up next week. I think he has been surprisingly involved in the Leeds United season this year. I mean, I don't think a lot of people, and myself included, thought that he would be able to raise his game to be at least, I don't want to say a major contributor, but have a major role with a team in the Premier League. We saw him do this before, and it just was, he's raised his game and at least done enough in training to prove to the manager that who likes him. I will say, I think Farka likes him, but still, you got to produce, and he's at least been good enough. I mean, that's the thing. You know, he's still doing the things that Brendo does well, ball recovery, stuff like that. So good for him.
Yeah, ain't a whole lot of folks like Daniel Farka at present, but folks like
that might change after this past week. You get a 4-1 win at home. That makes you feel real good.
Yes, absolutely true. So in France, Mark McKenzie goes 90 minutes in a 2-1 win at Lyon. Valerian Balogun goes 90 minutes in a 2-1 win at Auxerre, and you needed that one considering how they're struggling at the moment. Tim Weah, 69 minutes, nice, and a 6-0 win in the Cup against At Borg and Brest Parana, I guess. P-E-R-O, Parana, I get Parana. Borg on Brest Parana in the cup. And Tanner Tessman subs in for a cup of coffee and a 3-0 win in the cup against Sancy-Colonge at Mont d'Or. So mixed bag for folks. You start, you win, and then you get a couple of minutes, and then Tim Weah goes 69 and a 6-0 blowout. Tanner Tessman comes in as a sub. So, mixed bag in France because it's all
cup matches late in the year like this. It's a mixed bag of who's playing and who isn't. Yeah.
Yes. Germany, you had now the way that Bild ranks is completely flipped to everybody else. So Bundesliga action, Malik Tillman gets a 2, which is like a high grade. They get the higher the number, the lower the grade. So Malik Tillman gets a 2 for Leverkusen in 90 minutes on a 3-1 win at Leipzig.
Huge win. They needed that.
Noah Kai Banks gets a 3, so he's kind of like a C+, I guess. For Augsburg, yeah.
Yeah. I have a take on Noah Kai Banks.
Hit me.
Okay. First off, I just want to say I absolutely believe that the dude should be getting called up, because I think if you're starting week in and week out at center back, which is the key here in the Bundesliga, I think it's fair to say you're a pretty darn good soccer player, specifically pretty darn good at your position. However, he is very young, so I'm hedging it with that. I think people are making a lot out of the fact that he's playing a whole lot. He's fine. He's okay.
He's all right.
I don't think he's particularly quick. I do think he's pretty decent with the ball at his feet, which is nice. But we're looking at a national team that's potentially going to be playing with 3 center backs, or at least in a formation that moves into 3 center backs a lot. We're also looking at a national team that I think it's fair to say has one good center back. Count them, one. A dude who's 70, and a couple of guys that are just all right. And I do think that he should be there in March. I would say he probably should have been there, November and October as well.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe this is a him thing. He's not ready to commit.
Sure.
Obviously, I don't think Pochettino at all he's not on that recruitment grind the way that Berhalter was. Berhalter also, though, I think he and Pochettino had the same mind. They're like, I'm not promising you anything more than what the reality is. They're not Mexico, who promises everyone that they'll start in the World Cup match, apparently.
Mm.
He's not going to oversell anything, but I do think it's just a little naive to not say, hey, we've got a dude starting every week, basically. I mean, he's playing most of the weeks in the Bundesliga, which is, a good league. I know his team isn't particularly great, but we're letting Austin Trusty up in here for a not very good Celtic team and a terrible Scottish Premier League. Like, come on. No offense. I know we used to love him, but we're letting Miles Robinson up in here, who is at this point a above average MLS defender. Going to be just blunt about it. I can't make an argument that he's better than them because I haven't seen them, in terms of like in the same team.
Right.
But my argument would be, well, he probably has a lot more upside and is probably a little bit better right now than those guys. But what do I know?
Yeah. You look at Christopher Lund, James Sands, and Gio Reyna all got 4s on a scale of 1 being a high and 6 being a low. Lund played 90 minutes and lost to Union Berlin. Sands played 90 in a goalless draw at Mainz. And Gio Reyna gets a 4, playing 64 minutes in a 2-0 loss at Dortmund. Joe Scally gets a 5 out of 6, which is bad. 90 minutes in the same loss at Borussia Dortmund. So Gio Reyna didn't impress in 64 minutes. Joe Scally sure as hell didn't impress in 90 for Borussia Mönchengladbach.
Yeah, not a good day for the Mönchengladbach side of Borussia.
Yeah.
I don't think that team played well at all. So I think depending on any particular player is probably not smart.
Oh man. Let me check the numbers. So since Let's just see how bad it was in the 2-0 loss. And once again, a client-side exception has occurred while loading SofaScore. That's not good. What you don't want people to see what's going on in frickin' wow. So it looks like apparently Borussia Mönchengladbach has shut down SofaScore.
Oh my.
Mönchengladbach. All right, so let me see if I spelled it correctly. I did. Okay, so let's see if we can find. So who was it they played really quickly again? Dortmund. Okay.
Dortmund, the other Borussia team.
Yeah. Okay. Dortmund. Okay. So, all right. So let me see if I can find somebody else other than SofaScore. Julian Brand and Maximilian Bayer scored in that one. So live score. Let's see. Let me see if live score will give it to me. I don't think they will necessarily. So summary stats. Okay. So lineups. Okay. So wow. This was a lineup that had Dortmund, and so Dortmund had that lineup. Okay, so Gio Reyna. They didn't give me individual stats. Okay, so live score, you don't help me very much. Nothing like trying to chase something quickly and sit there and it's like I just need the stats. That's all I want. That's all I want, and I'm not getting them. Nothing like not behaving. FOTMob. Let's see what FOTMob says. So we'll go to FOTMob and see if they'll help me when it comes to numbers. Okay, so here we go. Emre Can gets an 8, so we go to the other side. Scally gets a 5.9 according to FOTMob, and Gio Reyna got a 6.2 in 65 minutes. So Scally played the full 90, had one shot, 17 of 24 passing. XG plus XA of 0.05, 2 defensive contributions, 39 touches, 3 in the opposition box, 0 for 2 on the dribble, 0 for 2 on crosses, 0 for 3 in long balls, 2 clearances, 1 headed, 1 recovery, 2 for 7 on his duels on the day, and he committed 1 foul. So I could see why folks might be slightly down on that performance. So Gio Reyna, 3 for 9 on his duels, 0 for 4 in the air, by the way. One recovery, 2 picks, 1 clear. It was 1 for 2 on the dribble, 3 for 3 on long balls, 0 for 1 on crosses, 3 touches in the opposition 18, 46 touches on the day, and an XG plus XA at 0.38, 26 of 33 passing on the afternoon in 65 minutes. So it didn't seem like there's a whole lot there. That's just me. Not a whole lot of there, sir. So
yeah, I mean, I think for Gio, the goal is to just play soccer as much as possible from now until,
yes,
whenever those rosters have to be released, sometime before June 1st, I assume.
There you go.
That's the key here. Joe Scally is, I mean, I'm going to apply what I said a lot about Nokai Banks to Joe Scally. Is that a dude who's starting week in and week out for a Bundesliga team, a club that is a pretty well-respected Bundesliga club. I know they're having issues this year.
They're 12th right now, and they're behind in goal difference, and that's why they're 16 points. And literally, there are 3 points separating 10 through 15, and Mönchengladbach is in the middle of that pile.
Yeah, they're not close to being European bound. Let's just put it that way.
No,
they're closer to not being in the Bundesliga much longer, and that is the problem for them. But point being, playing week in and week out, I don't necessarily think that right back is a position of need in the same way,
right?
Because we do have Serginho Dest, who we can talk about in a second. But I think that's the type of thing where you just go, man, just keep playing soccer, stay healthy, stay fit, stay in the lineup. It's what you can. Same with Gio Reyna, like stay healthy, stay fit, stay in that squad selection so that you can prove I promise I play soccer. And take my word for it, I play. I promise. Now you can actually put it on tape that you play.
Yes, see my huddle tape. Cole Campbell, Marvin Dills, Leonard Maloney, all on the bench. Johnny Cardoso on the bench in Spain for Atletico de Madrid.
Which in itself is a good thing, I will say. Coming back from injury, he's at least in match day squads. So
yes, and
positive for Johnny.
And Diego Cocan did not dress, shockingly, in the 2-0 win at Villarreal for Barca. So Serginho Dest and Pepe get the scoring streak. So Pepe gets an equalizer for PSV in their win over Utrecht. Scoring streak now for Pepe is at 4, and Dest sends in the delivery. So Dest and Pepe combine. PSV enters the winter break with an 11-point lead over Feyenoord. So 3 Champions League goals. Pepe and Dest, what say you, sir?
Well, I don't think there's much to say about Serginho Dest. I think we know his value to the team. Health is the most important thing for him, and he is getting back to health after a catastrophic knee injury. So we're just happy to have that. Pepe, though, I think this just kind of confirms what I've felt about him for a long time. I think when you compare the strikers in the pool, Ricardo Pepi is the best finisher we have in the U.S. national team. Maybe second best if you count Christian Pulisic, who's been finding his way into the score sheet a lot just by finishing. But when it comes to strikers, Ricardo Pepi is the dude. And when it comes to finishing, however, I think Florian Balogun does literally everything else better. And that's that struggle is Balogun is still a good enough finisher to justify it. But he does the link up play better. He does the hold up play better. He does line breaking or line stretching runs better. He does combination at the top of the box better. He does all these things better, which is why he's going to be the starter. But anyone who thinks that anyone is coming for Ricardo Pepi's spot in this squad, I think is a little bit just daft. I think there are a bunch of guys, and to be frank, I think Haji Wright is up there too because a little bit of his versatility. But I know he's not like the aerial threat we'd love to see a dude who's 6'2". But Pepe and Balogun are tall enough. Pepe and Wright are definitely tall. Wright, I think, is the tallest of the 3, if I'm not mistaken. But Pepe is better at all the get in the box and finish, right? I feel a lot better about our striker pool now than I did a couple of years ago, even maybe a couple months ago, now that I see guys playing week in and week out. Obviously, he's another one coming back from not catastrophic, but a pretty hard knee injury. So he didn't get to start the season. Scoring every time he comes on the field is going to be a good way to get back in the 11, or at least back in the match day squad week in and week out. And again, that's all we can ask from the kid.
Yes, scoring good. You want to play scoring good.
Scoring good.
Yes. Zambia still chasing after an equalizer. We're in the 88th minute. Just missed an opportunity on a set piece from about 30. So right now, Mali looks like we got 30 seconds plus added. Mali still leading 1-0 in Casablanca. Oh, mishandled. Might be a turnover, but they can hang on to it. So that's right. I can't do play-by-play. I can talk about it, but I can't do play-by-play. So we have all of that we've discussed when it comes to cards and calls and Yanks Abroad. Is there anything else on your mind, sir, as we are here on a Monday? Oh, where is your Christmas shopping, by the way?
I have one more thing that I need to see if I can get from Amazon today, because my brother's wife, my sister-in-law, is a hard person to shop for, because when I asked her what she wanted, she said gift cards, and
yeah,
I'm not a gift card person. I don't like that.
Okay.
Sorry. I'm not saying it's impersonal. If you like giving gift cards, that's great. But it's just one of those. I'm like, but I'd like to give you something.
Yeah.
So I need to check my Amazon cart to see if the thing that I think I want to get her is still available in time before Christmas. So hopefully, yes.
Okay. Just checking. So then,
fun. I've got everything we need. So
all right. So are you a 12-month a year shopper, or do you collide like in the last month and just try to figure it out from there? Are you timely?
I keep lists all year long.
Okay.
But the text, especially to the family, is like that goes out like right after November, right? So like November 1 or 2. Hey, what do y'all want for Christmas? Like right after, I shouldn't say after Halloween.
Yes.
Sometimes, because that way it's like I'm not buying you that, or like you don't want something different. It's that type of thing. And obviously buying for mom and dad is always I feel like I'd rather go on an Odyssey with Homer than think what my father wants for Christmas, because he's one of those people like, I don't need anything, and it's true because he's bought the thing that he wants or needs. Something happened in AFCON.
Yeah, minute and a half into the 4, Zambia with an equalizer, clean header, got behind the defender. Great entry into just at the edge of the 6, headed in at 91-40, and the Malian coach just gave this a big old harumph. And so right now, 1-1 with about 2 minutes to go, and Zambia might have rescued a point. No, it was Patsandaka from Zambia. There you go. So your talisman from Leicester gets the so let's see, entry with the left. Wow, it's from about 35. Got behind the 2 defenders. And Patsandaka heads it right gets between the 2 defenders. Bit of a grab. The defender actually lets him go, and that cleans up, that gives him that much space. And so it looks like Patsandaka scores 1-1 with about 2 minutes, and now with less than 2 minutes to go of the added 4. So it looks like Zambia might escape with a point in match 2 of the tail end of Group A as we head into Group B for your afternoon matches. Once again, soccer over there tonight at 8. We will discuss verily. All right, so then that means that when we come back with you this time next week, we will find out what if you got your pony that you asked for Christmas, and we'll find out all the other stuff that is under the Festivus bush, and whether or not you had feats of strength and airing of grievances and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I'm a 12-month shopper, and hopefully I can remember who gets what. So it's, like I said, it's hidden.
So that's my problem, is if I buy it too far in advance, I'll be like, oh wait, I forgot that I bought that. So I'm a list maker throughout the year. I'm going, oh, I think they would like that. Or and some people, it's just like, they get one present and they're fine. And I have to, for the most time, I'm like, what do you want?
Yeah.
It's just easier.
What do you want?
But there are some things, especially for friends, I'm like, well, like, for example, she's probably not listening because she's a good person who works during the day. I have one friend who, a huge fan of Minnesota sports, Minneapolis sports, because that's where her family's originally from. Y'all may know her as someone who regularly has a megaphone in the stands in Atlanta United games. And when I was up in Minneapolis, St. Paul for the women's national team game, I happened to be at the Mall of America.
Yes.
And they had a big hockey store, and
they do.
A hockey puck. I had paraphernalia from the women's hockey team up there who happened to be pretty good, John.
Yes.
And so I was like, oh, I'll snag this now because this is like, so that's the type of 12-month shopping that I do, of like, oh yeah, I'm in a thing, I should get that for them, not necessarily actively looking.
Yes. No, I am a 12-month. I'm a 12-month impulse shopper. Also to go, ooh, and then they'll like that, and I'll grab it, and they'll go behind this.
I feel like you're just justifying your impulse shopping by claiming it's a Christmas guided impulse shopping.
Well, but it's not for me though. It's for somebody else. If it was for me, then it would be impulse shopping for me, and it would be straight up.
So you're justifying your impulse shopping by saying it's for someone else.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Hey, it's a force for good.
Look, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tabs open for possible shopping here on the desktop. So I know how this is going to work. All right.
I feel like, John, if I could put a question out there from everyone throughout the rest of the week, but what would be your Atlanta United gift you want under the tree this year? And I don't mean a jersey.
Yeah. The philosophical Atlanta United.
Yeah. Mine would be multiple new outside backs.
Yeah, I know. We always get into that. Yeah, you and I will. We will get into
multiple right backs.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. We will definitely get into that argument as well.
I'm sure y'all will.
Yes. We will catch up with you in a week's time, and we will find out what you got under the tree. As always, thanks for dropping by on Mondays and breaking down everything for us. Merry Christmas.
Well, Merry Christmas, y'all.
May the holiday be what you wish for it to be, sir.
Festive and bright, everyone. Hope it's a great one.
There you go. Be good. We'll see you in a week. There goes Bart. And so I think the whistle has blown. So, yes, Mali and Zambia, 1-1 draw. Patsandaka, in the 92nd minute, gets the goal in match number 2 of AFCON. So that's where we are. Required reading for the day has to do with Tanzania, actually. And you have the story of Taran Alarakia and Haji Minoga. And it dates back to their time in the National League. And so it goes from the National League in 2023. Tanzania, who is 112th in the FIFA rankings, qualified for the tournament. yet to secure a victory. And in 23, Alarakia and Minoga were part of the squad that got draws against Zambia and DR Congo. Couldn't get them out of the group. Nigeria is their first opponent tomorrow. They're the highest-ranked team in their group. But the required reading from Will Unwin follows the story of two guys from Lancashire who are apparently they're hanging out right now at Rochdale, but they first off met in the National League back in 23. Wealdstone, Aldershot, Alarakia, and Minoga, and they are a part of Tanzania's run inside AFCON. So very, very cool. Another couple of things to keep an eye on when it comes to injuries. Keep an eye on Bruno Fernandes. Looks like he might be out the better part of a month. And so now what do you try and do to replace that kind of firepower? Answer is don't know. That screaming that you heard was probably Drew Dickinson trying to figure out what you can do to replace that firepower. But with the finances currently being what they are, I don't know if you can. So we'll see what happens there. We mentioned kind of briefly early Liverpool might be jumping themselves to the front of the line to trigger the release clause on Antoine Semenyo from Bournemouth. So we'll see what happens there, and keep an eye on that. We'll see what happens involving futures of injuries and so on and so forth. So there's that. Hearts over the weekend beat. Hearts got a win over the weekend, knocking off Rangers, and so that was a big win for Hearts. They're still 6 points clear, I believe, and so Hearts once again on top. And it was great to catch up with Liam Fox last week. If you missed it, the new head coach at Sporting Jackson USL Championship. That's where his heart lies. Literally, it's with Hearts. 2-1 win. Finley and Lawrence Shanklin with the win, and so Hearts get all 3 points. And so it was 11 games unbeaten. And then they turn it around. They've won all 4 matches against Celtic and Rangers this season. And so you could end up with somebody different on top with Hearts. And so already assured of being the first non-Old Firm side to the top of the table on Christmas Day since 1993 gets the win. Jers had been unbeaten in the league since losing at home to Hearts mid-September. 3 changes in their lineup. And so Hearts gets the win to stay on top of the table. And so that was a big win for them as they continue to stay on top. So very, very cool stuff there. Pep Guardiola has apparently warned his stars not to get too fat. Guardiola's weighed his players, told them not to overindulge. Don't get fat. Even refused, so he's made clear any member of the squad who returns from the break out of condition will not be involved at Forest. Guardiola even refused his players a day off after the win over West Ham. Wasn't happy with the level of performance, even though they won 3-0. And Guardiola said, the players asked me to take a day off. I said, no, because you didn't play good enough. So Sunday recovery, train the guys that didn't play. And after 3 days off, they have 2 days to prepare for Nottingham Forest. Every player makes a weight. They come back on the 25th, and I'll be there controlling how many kilos come up. See if they come fatty. Weighing the players the moment they arrive. They can eat, but I want to control them. I have to make a selection for December 27th against Forest. Imagine one player, and now he's perfect. But he'll arrive with 3 kilos more. That's like 7 pounds. He'll stay in Manchester. He will not travel to Forest. Guardiola did point out he currently saw everything perfect in terms of fitness, and it was other aspects of the display against the Hammers that bothered him. Problem is not running. One of the attributes of my team since I started in Barca B until now is we run like an animal, but it's not enough. We have to play better. Guardiola does feel it's important his players spend some time with their families and enjoy themselves. He said, next week, I have holidays being with family and with champagne. I've learned from England since I arrived, as much days where you can have a day off, you give them. Schedule is so tight, players have to forget. The more they arrive in the right moment, the better. The moment of the game, they'll be fresh in the legs. Players have to go with the families and forget football. It's good for them to see the manager every day. That's so tough. So Pep Guardiola is going to be weighing folks the second they walk in the door. Don't get too fat. Now, Alexander Isak, update. Arne Slot admits that the injury did not look good after he was subbed off with Spurs. Afraid he suffered significant damage to his leg, injured against Tottenham, could face a lengthy spot on the sidelines. So keep an eye on keep an eye on the Isak injury, and we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with Alexander Isak. Bruno Fernandes looks like he's out a month. And so Kobe Mainu was left out of the squad. People are saying you got to move him. Ruben Amorim's like, no, I don't. And so that's not going to happen in that. You have a coaching change at London City in the WSL. Thiago Silva has signed for Porto at the age of 41 on a free. Andre Onana is considering a Manchester United exit. Discussions over a loan move continue. I'm trying to tour the papers. I'm trying to see if there's anything else. Coventry got a late goal, and Frank Lampard almost got into a fight. It was he was they get the win, and he literally almost gets into a fight after the match is over because he was celebrating the way that he was. So let's see. I'm trying to check the papers before we get out of here. Once again, tomorrow, remember, it is catching up, hopefully, with one of the top picks in the MLS draft. And we can have that laid out for you as well. If the timing works out, we're going to check and see if Casey White's going to hang out with us tomorrow or if she is with family too. But once again, we'll find out what's going on. But yeah, the fear for Isak is that he broke his leg, that his leg is broken. That he did not break it, but that his leg is broken. So we'll see. We'll see what the end result is there and find out what is going on. That was the other thing I meant to look at. Last night, there were reports that came out whether or not there is an agreement or not when it comes to the hip replacement deal for the NWSL. And it looked like, and this, like I said, this was published reports, and there wasn't anything to back it. And it doesn't look like there is anything at the moment that is changing anyone's perceptions. But it looked like there were a couple of reports last night that there had been some kind of an agreement in principle involving the hip rule. And it looks like Ella Stevens has also now signed. She goes from Gotham to Boston Legacy through 27. Mutual option for 28. So Ella Stevens is on the board for that. And so let's see. What are we missing here? Do we have anything else going on? I do not see the 14th season and anything else happening. So, Sophia Wilson. So, like I said, the one report, it wasn't corroborated, and there's nothing that has been corroborated this morning. So we'll see what the latest is there when it's involving the NWSL as they chase after something when it comes to the hip replacement and whether or not they're going to be able to lay it all out for the NWSL to where they can keep some of their players. And so we'll find out what's going on. We'll find out what's going on there. We'll keep an eye on that because the clock is ticking when it comes to the future of the NWSL. Soft tissue injury was the diagnosis for Bruno Fernandes. Andreas Christensen looks like he might be out for 4 months with a partial ACL tear. And as Jason mentioned this morning, Pellegrino Matarazzo. For those of you that do not subscribe to the Morning Espresso, you should, because that is the early rounds of all the news that you might have missed over the weekend or in the overnight leading into our show in the morning. Pellegrino Matarazzo, appointed by Real Sociedad. So very, very cool. First gig outside of Germany. And Fabio Paratici, who just rejoined Tottenham as a sporting director. Fiorentina is looking to add him to come back to Fiorentina. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with that. Going forward. But yeah, subscribe to Morning Espresso if you have not had the opportunity to. Jason gives you all of the news that starts your day in written form, and you can get the newsletter, and people are consuming the newsletter, and we can't thank you enough for that. And Jason also has audio video form for Morning Espresso as well. So very, very cool stuff there. If you have not had the opportunity to, then please like, subscribe, and be a part of that too. NYC has signed midfielder Cooper Flax to a first-team contract as a homegrown through 26, options through June 27, and 27, 28, and 28, 29 seasons. So a youth signee for NYCFC as they get ready for Dylan Butler Estates going forward. So I'm trying to see if there's anything else that I have missed when it comes to all the things. And I think we're caught up on that particular paper. And let me check the headlines in one more place and then remind you about the rest of our day off the air. And we will get you ready for Tuesday. So once again, the transfer show is at Sky's letting us know once again, United and City are chasing after Semenyo, and he could make a decision on his future later today. Spurs are moving on to other targets, and they are out of the race. And so it'll be Liverpool, City. I would say those two over United when it comes to the $65 million release clause that you've got to sit there and kick out if you're interested in Antoine Semenyo if you are at Bournemouth. So keep an eye on Bournemouth and whether or not Semenyo says, yeah, I want to go here, and we'll figure out what the latest is involving Antoine Semenyo. How long does he stay? Where does he go? All of the things. And speaking of Antoine Semenyo, gentleman has pleaded not guilty after being charged with a racially aggravated Section 5 public order against Semenyo during the fixture that took place on August 15th against Liverpool at Anfield. And trial scheduled to take place April 22nd next year. Semenyo expected to attend the proceedings. Liverpool Magistrates Court heard today. Gentleman who appeared in person spoke only to confirm his name and address and enter his plea, released on bail on condition he does not contact Semenyo directly or indirectly or make reference to him on social media. Also banned from attending any regulated football grounds as part of his bail conditions. Semenyo reported being racially abused by a spectator during the opening game of the Premier League season to Anthony Taylor. Stopped the game, remember, in the 29th minute. And a man was ejected from Anfield. Arnaslot Nandoni Iraola spoken to by Taylor when the incident occurred, leading to the game being paused. And then you have the writing on social media after the 4-2 win. Remember that Liverpool had that rough start to the season. That was a long time ago. And then you had the response on social media, but now you have a court date with an individual who has pleaded not guilty during the opening game of the season, and that's going to be in late April. So that is where that is. So what to watch, where to watch it, how to watch it. Obviously, AFCON is going to be front and center, and South Africa and Angola come up in about 45 minutes. Egypt and Zimbabwe are on at 3, BNB and Espanol simulcasting. And once again, you can get that at fanati7tz.co/soccer down here. Mali and Zambia, a plus 227 with their draw. South Africa and Angola, once again, that margin's getting a little closer. South Africa, plus 165. Draws about the same, and Angola's a plus 224. Egypt is now up to a minus 312. That number has grown. Zimbabwe also has had their plus side increase to a plus 1060. Draws a plus 355. So all that's on BN and BN and Espanol. Fulham and Forest is at 3 o'clock on USA. It is simulcast on NBCSports.com. And you have ESPN Deportes at 3 o'clock. Athletic Club and Espanol. ESPN Plus is simulcasting. Paramount Plus at 2 o'clock is the Supercopa final between Bologna and Napoli. And at 12:30 tomorrow morning, A-League on the women's side, Melbourne City, Melbourne Victory. And we figure that Bam will be watching that one as we go. So that is the rundown of everything that is today in the world of soccer. And it was Rob Vincent has been given the head coaching job in Pittsburgh for real. And so no mention of Bob Lilly one way or the other, but nevertheless. So it is now Rob Vincent's job as we continue to get ready for the USL Championship season. We'll try and have Keeler Hodges on next week as well and lay out everything with Keeler and find out what the 2025 season was for the USL Championship League One as they get ready for 2026, because training camp's open pretty quick. So we'll find out what happens there. It's another go-round of SDH AM. Once again, thanks for dropping by and hanging out with us as you always do. Once again, tomorrow we got guests scheduled. We're efforting some things, and we will lay it all out for you Tuesday. Wednesday, Once again, tape on Tuesday, rolled over to Wednesday for some things. Marketing 101 with our friends from AC Boise. And it is Nico Moreno joining us at 10:30 on Wednesday. No show on Thursday. Wednesday and Friday will be from Montgomery, Alabama in a hotel room. Friday morning, once again, it'll be our buddy Nino Torres at 10 and getting you ready for the weekend across the board. And we'll find out what you all got for Christmas. So we'll find out about that as well. So I can't thank you guys enough for hanging out with us on a holiday week because, as you know, the sport never stops. Tonight, 8 o'clock, soccer over there. It is all of us with all of you and talking AFCON and everything overseas and getting you ready for picks of the week. And we will see what happened. Quoting our buddy Neil Peart, and if you choose not to decide, you still have made a choice. I didn't have any choice, but I figured I'd quote Rush to end of the day. That's it for another go-round of SDH AM. Thanks for dropping by. Let me say hi to everybody before we get out of here one more time. I hope I get all my shopping done too, Abby. Thank you. So it's morning, Abby. Morning, OG. Morning, David. All the Ohio talk. That was kind of wild. Morning, Ricky. And morning to the boss who chimed in. She was watching. Once again, morning, David. Morning, OG. And morning, Abby. Morning, Will, as he types caps as he gets ready to go to Texas. And let's see, Abby and Will and Abby and Will in all caps. And there you go. So that's another go round of the AM. Back at it again, less than 22. Since it is the end of the show, that means we get to do this. Mucha plati, y'all play it safe, and we will catch up with y'all again tomorrow morning, 9:05 Eastern time. Play it safe. We'll see you later.